All right, guys, let me just repeat what I was saying because I'm not sure if you guys heard what I said before we got kicked off on the live there. But what I was trying to say is that we are hosting a mini giveaway today. Anybody who is here automatically gets entered into that giveaway, so you might have a chance to win a little bit of USDC. And also, anybody that has their questions answered from the AMA questions channel, you also get put into a raffle-based system to win 30 Engage points, which you can exchange in our Engage marketplace. As you guys know, over the course of the next couple weeks, we are going to ramp up some of the rewards that you can find on the Engage marketplace, like gift cards. And, like I said, I plan on going kind of above and beyond and maybe even, putting up a gaming console of sorts. So please do keep your eyes peeled on that. A lot of exciting rewards are coming. So we're going to try to get through your questions as fast as possible. Before we start, I did want to give Yago an opportunity to, share any piece of information that he would like or, share any alpha whatsoever. Like if you have anything on your mind you wanted to share with the community, now would be the time to do that, Yago. And then from there, we'll jump into the questions. Like I said, we're going to try to swift through them as quickly as possible to just get through all of them because we have quite a few. But yes, Yago, hopefully you are doing well, my friend. The mic is yours if there's anything that you would like to share.
Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for joining. Great to see you all. We've had a fantastic week here. There's significant progress being made on Litecoin and LitVM integrations as well as the Cardano integration. We have seen across ZKBTC and Bro sort of like the first early tastes of what programmable Bitcoin can be. Already is generating a huge amount of interest across users and miners. We've seen over 45,000 transactions over the course of a little over a week. We've, in fact, already had such an impact on Bitcoin that people are starting to notice organically, just sort of people who aren't even aware of the work that we're doing are starting to notice how transactions on chain. Miners have been reaching out to us. We've had an appreciable impact on the price of Bitcoin transactions. So we haven't even gotten started, and already the impact that we're having is outstripping my expectations. If we continue on this path, we're in for a very wild ride indeed.
Amazing. Very, very, very exciting, guys. This are very exciting times. And we're so grateful to have you guys on this journey with us, of course. So let's dive right in. We do have two people who came up to the speaker panel. Obviously, Jason is our amazing moderator. And then we have Pi Squared who joined us. Before I get to your questions, my friend, I just want to run through just a couple so that we can get the space going. First question, super quick answer, Yago. Is the BOS token still going to launch as a charm?
BOS will launch as a charm, yes. It will also be available as a ERC20 token and as a CNT token. We've been working very, very hard to make sure that all happens at the same time and within our time frame for launch, which is getting very, very close. So the short answer is yes.
Awesome. That sounds great. Very exciting. Next question. We know there's going to be SLAM nodes. Are there still going to be BOS nodes that can be run on a very simple device?
As I've said in the past, this will take time to develop. We always knew it would take time. It wouldn't be the first thing that we launch. I will say more and more of our focus has been on Grail Pro and the institutional tooling that we've been building. Just as a quick reminder to everyone, Bitcoin does not natively have programmability. We've had to add that into Bitcoin using ZK proofs, and so that requires that we have a new kind of player in the Bitcoin space, right? Not just Bitcoin miners, but Bitcoin compute providers, and so the BOS tokens role is going to basically be acting as the gas token for Bitcoin, where what will happen is we will be collecting fees, and in fact already are collecting fees in the form of BTC, and that BTC will be used to buy and burn BOS tokens, and then so we while we won't turn the buy and burn on immediately, that is the goal, and then we expect near that time we will also turn on the staking functionality. We don't expect that to be this year. We expect that to be next year.
Awesome. Gotcha. Like we explained, guys, like we plan on kind of like having different phases. That's obviously going to roll out on not one of the initial phases. Pizza Merchant asked, Grail Pro is said to be catered to institutional players. With the centralized nature of operators for bridge agents, how can everything be trustless anymore? It's my understanding that even with charms and ZK proofs, these centralized operators still play a critical role in the entire process.
That's correct. They do. And it's important to understand why we've chosen to do this and why it's so valuable. So today, there's roughly 19 million Bitcoin in circulation, of which 6 million, or 1/3, is held by professional money managers, what we would call institutions. I think institutions is probably the wrong term, which is why I prefer to use professional money managers. That includes hedge funds, family offices, corporate treasuries, etc. What's interesting about that 6 million is because it's being managed by professional money managers, it is actually being managed. It wants to be put to work, as opposed to the other 13 million, which is mostly being used just to sort of passively hodl. And so it's when we're building a system which is designed to allow people to put their BTC to work, obviously that is the most valuable sector that we should be going after. Now, the vast majority, almost all of that Bitcoin, is held at various custodians. In other words, these professional money managers, they don't sort of, have like a hardware wallet or their own setup. They use professional custodial setups. And so they're already trusting the custodial setup. And what we've done with Grail Pro is we've modified Grail in order to be simple for custodians to integrate into their custodial systems, effectively turning all of the effectively turning the custodians into operators of the BOS platform. And so as we launch BOS, we're actually going to be launching with these professional, institutional, and custodial players as the first operators. And then over time, we will be able to allow anyone to work as an operator. One question you might ask is, why not just from the get-go let anyone be an operator? And the reason is that it's a question of focus and resource allocation. To build the system such that it is appropriate. In other words, in order to put focus onto Grail Pro, means that making it really, really easy to deploy operators for anyone else had to take a bit of a back seat. But the advantage is huge, because the custodians are the professionals when it comes to securing BTC and really any form of digital asset. And so by having them as a core component to the system from the get-go, our system is going to benefit from the security not just of one, but of all of these custodians. It's a very unique system because of its one of n assumption. You don't just get the security of one custodian, you get the security of one custodian, and then the other custodian becomes an additional layer of security, and each custodian becomes an additional layer of security. So we're going to be building the world's most secure system, the most secure digital system in the world, maybe with the exception of Bitcoin itself.
Thank you, Yago. Hopefully that answers your question, Pizza Merchant. Thank you so much for asking. Jason BitcoinOS said, good morning, Yago and aliens. I don't have a question for you about BOS or ZKBTC because I already know everything about it thanks to aliens. My question for you is, how have you been holding up? Doing what you do cannot be easy at all, man.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. Great shout out to aliens, and thank you for the shout out to myself. I appreciate it. The entire team is working very, very hard. I did something that I haven't done in almost 10 years, that my wife and the rest of my family have been complaining about. I took a vacation, so I took 2 weeks off. I'm going to need a longer vacation, but there's still a lot of work to do, and I want to make sure that we have the system out and on solid footing. And then I'm letting you guys know already. I'm gonna take some serious time off because I've been going at this for hard for about 14 years, and I wanna go into 2026 with some of my hair and teeth still available to me.
Yeah, you guys don't want a teethless Yago. I'll tell you that much. It's not going to be a pretty sight. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All love to you, Yago. But yeah, I definitely was very, very happy to see you take some time off. It was much, much needed, well deserved for sure. So, but Jason, that's such a nice shout out, and thank you so much for caring on that level. Another question here that's also kind of like more so like, kind of just more so like a general crypto question for you. Indulgent, one of our amazing moderators, also asked, crypto started with a simple promise, money without borders, self-custody, and privacy. But when you look at how things scale, it gets tricky. We all say protocols shouldn't be centralized, but but the moment a hack happens, it's not just the devs that lose, it's people's life savings. So the real question is, do we allow some level of central control to protect users, or does that kill the whole point of crypto? How do we strike that balance between freedom and safety?
It's an excellent question. I would say that I think my answer might surprise a lot of people. I think that the only way you strike the balance is by not having any balance. Gold for centuries was the primary settlement mechanism and the primary reserve asset of the world. The way that countries, like in 1914, the United Kingdom wanted to buy weaponry from the United States. They sent a ship laden with 3,000 tons of gold, which was sunk by a U-boat, right? So even though World War I was going on, the way the US and the way countries paid each other was by sending ships full of gold into U-boat infested waters. And the reason that they were willing to take that risk is because you don't have any balance. There is no balance to strike when it comes to having a fully trustless system. You have to, the risk that you take is that you screw up in some way or another. What's magical about Bitcoin is it can move across borders, across the world instantaneously, and doesn't care about U-boats and submarines and other things. So it's a strict improvement on gold. But this property that no one can reverse your transaction, that there is no authority, is actually the most attractive thing about the system. So what can we do? What do we need to do? What we need to do is we need to build secure systems using technology, not rules, using cryptography, not human arbitration. And so if you look at the 6 million BTC that I mentioned at qualified and professional custodians, it's there without incident, right? Like the largest institutions in the world can trust that their Bitcoin is safe because it is held at professionals who have developed cryptographic systems that are designed to be secure. Will there be hacks? Well, there have been very few at custodians, but one day I'm sure there will be. Funds will be lost, but that is a small price to pay. especially because you can really minimize that to an absolute minimum if you're building secure systems. So this is one of those things in life where there is no place for balance. You have to have a system which cannot be controlled by any entity other than yourself.
Well said, Yago. Well said. Before we dive into the next couple of questions here, I just wanted to share today's secret code with you guys. That code is 917. All right. We are joined by two of our amazing community members on the speaker panel. So before we dive into the questions that were shared in the AMA questions channel, let's get your questions answered first. Also, once again, just repeating that we are hosting a mini giveaway today. So anybody who is on the space live right now, you automatically get entered to win a little bit of USDC, but you do have to be following BOS, you have to be following me, and you have to be following Yago. That's the only way that I can reach out to you. I will not be DMing you, I will be tagging you. So just keep letting you know. But Pi Square was here first. Hi, my friend, how are you? We would love to hear from you, and the mic is yours. Pi Squared? All right, well, if you would like to speak at any point, feel free to raise your hand and we will get to your question. Crypto Bag Travis, welcome to the speaker panel. Another lovely community member, longtime supporter. How are you? We would love to hear from you. The mic is yours.
Yeah, just coming up to say what's up to everybody, and I like being a part of this project.
We love you, my friend. Thank you so much. We love, love, love. We've loved having you. You've been an amazing community member. Um, and you were actually one of the winners of our pizza giveaway on Bitcoin Pizza Day, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we love having you, my friend, and hopefully you stay with us long term. All right. Pi Squared, if you would like I said, to get your question answered, please do raise your hand up and we will get to you. Let's move on to Sudi's question. Sudi asked, I would like to ask a security related question. Have you planned on making an audit by, for example, with Certic or others?
We've already completed the first audit by Least Authority, who I think are maybe the best in the business. And yes, we will continue to have the system audited. We have an internal audit system. We will also be introducing a bug bounty system, and we will be utilizing third-party audits on an ongoing basis.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next question. Please elaborate on the trust model of one of n trust assumption. Is it possible that a fraudulent transaction gets ignored and ended up not being challenged by other agents?
Yes, theoretically it is possible. And that is one of the reasons to have an incentive mechanism. So part of the reason to have the staking mechanism is to provide that incentive mechanism, basically to incentivize people to challenge any incorrect or fraudulent transaction, regardless of whether or not they're involved. We ourselves will be running nodes which are going to do that as a service. But our goal here is to build a system which obviously doesn't rely on us, doesn't rely on any other party, not the custodians, not the operators, but has an economic incentive to make sure that no fraudulent transaction will ever be ignored. We can do this very cheaply. So there is this is similar in some ways to being a validator on another chain, but a validator on another chain needs to validate every single transaction, and you need everyone to do it. Whereas all we need to do is have an incentive level which is high enough to make sure that somebody, one person somewhere does it. And so even, if we can incentivize 100 or 1,000 nodes to be with it, the level of security we have is far, far in excess of what we actually need. And that's one of the great properties of this asymmetric system, right? The more participants you have, the more secure the system gets. Whereas in honest majority systems or proof of stake systems, the more participants you get actually does nothing for you, because you need to maintain the same ratio of honest participants, right? You always need to have a majority, or in proof of stake systems, 2/3 need to be honest, whereas in our system, only one needs to be honest, but the number of participants can grow to tens of thousands.
Thanks, Yago. And Promex, if you did have, any questions regarding the honest majority model versus the trust, just the singleton model, like, is that what we'd call it, Yago? Feel free to reach out to me on Discord. I'm happy to give you further clarification. He-Man asked, could you please share the current status of the technical readiness for the BOS project?
So we have Charms in part working in production. We've got ZKBTC working in production. We've got Grail working in production. These systems are being hardened. Effectively, the system is working in production. There's still a lot of work to do on the smart contract side and making it easier for people to develop smart contracts and building out the SDK to truly make building smart contract and smart contract platforms easier. And there's still work to be done on integration with other chains, and there's still work to be done on allowing roll-ups to Bitcoin. But core components are already fundamentally in production, and we will continue to harden them. So the key pillars of the system have been built, are being integrated, and that is why we have a high degree of confidence that we'll be launching in the very, very near future. Launching the BOS token and TG.
How exciting, guys. I know you guys are excited to hear about that. Thanks for expanding on that, Yago. Another one of our amazing community members, Solo, asked, if ZKBTC succeeds, what does the BOS ecosystem look like 2 to 3 years from now?
If what succeeds?
ZKBTC.
If we do our jobs very well, a little bit unimaginable, but because I think a lot of things will happen that we're not even anticipating. But I think the things that we are anticipating is we will start to see large amounts of BTC, including, I think about it often through sort of just myself, right? My BTC has never really been put to work. My BTC will be for the first time sort of unleashed, as will that of many other people, institutions, professional BTC managers. And we will start to see BTC being utilized as a collateral asset. We will probably start to see stable coins being issued against BTC. We will start to see assets, both traditional and sort of new DeFi assets, being issued on the Bitcoin network and being beamable to other chains, interacting trustlessly with their BTC. And so where I think the world is going and what I think our technology allows fundamentally is BTC is becoming an increasingly important reserve and settlement asset for the world. This is because all of the governments, China to America, Germany to Nigeria, are in debt. We're seeing increased inflation. We're seeing deterioration in the finances of government institutions. We're seeing reduced trust in fiat currencies, and we're seeing war, both trade wars and hot wars, eroding the free and easy movement of people and capital, most importantly, capital and trade across borders. And the only counter to this is a borderless financial system. And so this borderless financial system is being institutionalized now. The reason the institutions, high net worth individuals, professional money managers are adopting Bitcoin is because they see this world coming. And what we need to do is we need to unlock the tools which will allow them to put that BTC to work, to utilize it as a reserve asset, to utilize it as collateral, to borrow against it, and then to buy assets which don't rely on, a particular stock exchange in Hong Kong or New York, but actually exist on the very chain where they keep their BTC asset. And that's why it's so important to also be able to allow through charms the issuance of new assets on Bitcoin. And so what we're going to see, and I don't know if this is over the next 2 years or 5 years, but it is about as close to inevitable as I think anything is. We're going to see the migration of a significant amount of today's monetary, financial, and economic activity onto Bitcoin, with Bitcoin acting as the primary collateral and reserve asset, and other assets being traded trustlessly against Bitcoin or being bought utilizing Bitcoin collateral or generating profits in the form of BTC.
Well said, Yago. Thank you for expanding on that. This next question comes from our favorite community troll, who was previously named Sursnek, but is now named Bitcoin BOS. So that should give you an idea of his appreciation for what we are doing here. He asked, is BOS going to be as slow as Bro proving ZK proofs?
We expect to introduce improvements which will reduce proving time by at least a factor of 4, if not a factor of 10, and introduce cost reductions as well. So short answer is, over the next 2 months, I wouldn't expect to see improvements. After that, dramatic improvements.
Could you expand or just give us a quick TLDR of how we plan on doing that?
It's pretty technical.
Okay. We'll talk about it later. All right. RNG Crypto asked, has the BOS team talked to any notable BTC treasuries to discuss future potentials?
Yes. On an ongoing basis, we are having those conversations, and look, we already have a lot of BTC committed to coming into the system. So we've actually created a queue for early access to ZK BTC. We've been working on this for many months. The sort of what you could call the sales cycle, right? The amount of time it takes to do an integration and explain to these institutions. It's a slower process in retail, but we've started months ago. It's already happened. The ZK BTC that already has been issued has come from institutional players, has come through Grail Pro. And we're going to continue to see that. I think we can expect to see tens of millions more ZK BTC become available over the next weeks and months, to hundreds of millions. And the primary limitation right now is our degree of confidence. We don't want to take unnecessary risks, so we're doing a slow ramp up.
Thanks, Yago. Appreciate you expanding on that. Next question here. Have you spoken to any teams or protocols who have been building on Cardano regarding integrating Bitcoin via BOS? Projects such as Fluid, who have Cardano and Bitcoin products, Levy Finance, Metra, offer good DeFi platforms that could definitely act as ways for users to use their ZK BTC liquidity.
Yes, so we have a great relationship with many of these, and indeed we are working together on a number of initiatives for the Cardano space. Not just ourselves, but with multiple partners, DeFi apps, wallets, some of the major players like Foundation, IOV, Emergo behind Cardano. I think the reception that we've been getting has been enthusiastic and warm, and everyone is very excited about bringing ZKBTC and BOS to Cardano.
Thank you, Yago. Next question. Also just wanted to ask, where are you at? Like, do you still have space for like a couple more questions, or are you good to
Sure.
keep going? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What are the most important new features or launches we should expect in the next phase of BOS?
I wouldn't expect big launches. We've launched we've got huge things launching already in the pipeline, right? So we've got Bro being used as an initial charm. We will be introducing BOS. We have ZKBTC. We have integrations that we need to be working on for expanding the number of parties integrated with Grail Pro. This will be the primary work for us over the next 3 or 4 months. And then, of course, there's big other things, right? There's roll-ups, there's chain integrations, there's wallets, explorers, applications that will be built and are in the works. But we need to pace ourselves. We need to launch things securely. Launching too many things at once would also be ineffective from a sort of marketing or narrative perspective, because everything would get smushed together and no one would recognize what we're doing. So we're going to be introducing big things on an ongoing basis, practically every single month for the foreseeable future.
Awesome. Thank you, Yago. Next question. Daniel said, first, want to say BitcoinOS has a wonderful and passionate community. Keep it up. When are users going to be able to run a node? Are we still going to see the buyback and burnout mechanism on the BOS token? Just want to say, Daniel, thank you so much for being an amazing community member. We love you. You've been a fantastic addition. But Yago, if you would like to expand on like the running a node or the buyback and burn mechanism, like feel free to do.
So we discussed this slightly earlier. I would say that we should not anticipate staking or buyback and burn this year. In other words, not in 2025. I see it as something that would come in 2026. And even sort of as we're generating revenue, initially that revenue will get parked and won't be used for the buyback and burn. That's something that we will trigger later on in 2026.
Thank you, Yago. Slim asked, can developers build dApps directly on BOS?
Yes, although we don't have a lot of good examples yet. We're still pretty early in that part of the story. We will be organizing hackathons. We'll be building out tools to make it easier. Right now, our primary focus is getting ZKBTC Grail and the key components for that out with charms and integrating into the major chains that we have as the first chains in our queue. And then we will be building out tooling, which will make it much easier for developers to start building using basically people will be able to write using Web 2 languages. They won't even need to learn like a new language like Solidity, right? You'll be able to just use Rust or TypeScript and standard languages to build smart contracts on Bitcoin. I suspect that what we will see is that developers will start doing that even before we're ready for it, because the capability for it already exists in the system. But what we will do, and our role will be building the tools to make them really, really easy. So it's not just the top developers and sort of like the most geeky early adopter developers who do that, but all developers.
Thanks, Yago. And to piggyback on that question, I remember a couple months back, we had Ivan on one of the spaces, and he was talking about how, you know, whenever you have some kind of like open source project, it's really hard to cater to all these programming languages. And he did mention that they were building out some form of, you know, tool or software to be able to cater to everybody, to be able to create inclusivity with all developing languages, programming languages. Can you talk or speak to that by any chance?
There's basically two big language families based on their low-level compiler, RISC-V or RISC-V, sometimes it's called, and WASM. We can already process any programs that are written in languages in those two families, which basically is all the languages that anyone would ever want to use. So the capability is already there. Now it is going to be more a question of demonstrating the first programs and when you are building. So this is a new paradigm, right? So you're building smart contracts for Bitcoin. That's not really a thing that's existed up until now. And so when you build these types of applications, they'll have different kinds of design patterns. And so it's really more a question of demonstrating and establishing those initial design patterns. The languages we can already handle. It's now how stylistically, how do you actually go about engineer and design these things? And so the first developers who do this will be paving the way for all of the other developers.
Awesome. Okay. That's good to know. Thank you, Yago. Appreciate you expanding on that. Before we continue with the rest of the questions, I brought up Eric to the speaker panel. He is our events lead and also manages our corporate strategy. Can't talk. He is actually going to go over some of the events that we are going to be participating in and or hosting in Korea and Singapore over the course of the next couple weeks. As you guys know, or you may not know, I have been talking about this pretty openly, but majority of the team is going to be traveling to both Korea and Singapore for KBW and Token 2049. We're going to be hosting some events. We're going to be participating in some events. So I just wanted to give Eric the speaker role to kind of go over that. If you guys will be there, we obviously want you guys to participate. And I will say that I actually have all of the URLs to the Luma events all scheduled on Discord. So if you go to our Discord, you go into the little events tab at the top upper left-hand corner, you'll see every single event that we will be at. And, you know, feel free to like sign up and participate. We'd love to see you. We'd love to have you. Obviously, I would love to, you know, have you guys, just give you guys as much merch as possible. So we'd love to see you there. But with that being said, Eric, please, feel free to expand on those events.
Thanks, Claire. Yeah, I definitely wanted to, keep you guys looped in. We finalized, locked and loaded our APAC circuit, and it's, you know, it's been a grind. So it's exciting to be able to share it. You know, this circuit is for us is all about, you know, being visible, staying connected, and having a strong community presence in this, you know, lead up to TGE. So, obviously we're kicking things off in Seoul during KBW. We partnered up with Babylon for their Bitcoin night, as well as title sponsorship for the new Friendship Tech gatherings, which I actually just got a little bit of alpha that will now be hosted at a mansion in Seoul. It was originally, I think the venue was TBD, but I just was speaking with the founder this morning, and the place looks insane. So if you are going to be in Seoul, definitely get involved with that. Very excited to see the developments there. But I think the big highlight for us, for Seoul is our, BOS bar crawl, our sort of community activation. It'll be two sessions, one in Hongdae and one in Itaewon, which are 2 districts within Seoul. The community is going to be taking over the streets. There'll be wristbands, drink tickets, plenty of cameras rolling, videographer. This one's just kind of about showcasing BOS culture. I'm going to throw everybody in some BOS t-shirts and just take over the streets for a few hours on, right to kick off KBW. So I'm excited for that. And then we pretty much, we shift gears to Singapore for Token. Some pretty big spotlight moments there. We're taking the stage, so to speak, with Toby and Brent. If you're familiar with them, they do huge events all over the world throughout the year. So we're going to be, we partnered with them as well as Mario Nafal for a huge presence in Singapore. We've got naming rights and curated access at Multi-Chain Day like we have all year. Always one of the better events, summit-style events at any conference that you go to. And then we're kind of closing it out a little more institutionally focused. Bitcoin Frontier Fund, we're close with their team, and they always have some nice sort of, a good way to sort of unwind after a heavy week. But, the goal is to hit kind of all those high impact touch points between investors, founders, KOLs, and, it all kind of culminates in our primary goal with this event circuit, which is to maximize our brand visibility, conduct high value networking, and really just to create sort of cultural moments that make us impossible to ignore, especially leading up to TGE. I mean, this is the noise we want to make, and we're just excited to finally share everything we've been working towards. So, whether it's grassroots nights in Seoul or, the big time stages in Singapore, this is just about carrying our momentum straight into TGE and well beyond. So, excited to actually share them with you guys in real life, and hope to see some of you there.
Amazing. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for covering all the events. And just to add to that as well, guys, I know that a lot of you already know this, but I will be live streaming the conference as much as I can, and I will also be live streaming the side events. I will be live streaming some of our events. I will be creating a lot of content around all these events taking place as well. So make sure you're following me, because I'm going to just do my best to take you guys along the journey and engage with you guys in ways that honestly we really haven't before. So I think you guys will find a lot of benefits to this. And I think it'll be fun. It'll be a fun way to, stay connected with you guys, even though, we're not here, and, maybe we're not hosting as many community calls, but it'll just be a nice way to take you guys on the journey, especially because a lot of you can't partake in these activities. So, and obviously with that, I'm going to be taking a lot of the merch over there, and bringing it back with me to the United States. And then I will be distributing a lot of that merch with the Engage Marketplace that we have, with other campaigns and initiatives as well. So stay tuned for that, guys. Very, very excited to, begin that process. And just as a transparency note as well, I am flying out tomorrow. So please do keep that in mind when DMing me or reaching out to me that, I'll probably be MIA for like the next two days, but I will do my best to get back to you guys as soon as possible, as always. With that being said, Yago, do you have space or time for a couple more questions, or should we kind of
I can go until the end of the hour.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's go to Almar Kazi. He asked, how is it going to be possible to handle the vast amount of transactions across all chains, since the goal of BOS is unification?
2 ways. First of all, transactions that occur purely on one chain can be handled by that chain on its own. But over time, we would expect to see more and more transactions have programmable components which aren't on any chain or are on Bitcoin, and a vast number of transactions that include components from multiple different chains. So you're right. This could get, we're already seeing more transaction volume than we were anticipating. So transaction volume could get very, very high. and Bitcoin only has 4 megabytes per block. So yes, this is an important thing to understand, right? We're going to probably make Bitcoin space very expensive and the most scarce digital asset in the world. But we have a solution to that from day one, which is we have the ability to take multiple different transactions and aggregate them into a single transaction. In other words, we can create a proof which is not just one transaction, but 1,000 transactions. And so it is this process of aggregation which is going to ultimately allow for true scalability. For a system to truly be scalable, you need to have a system or a technique built into it where it actually gets cheaper the more it is used, and that is the case with BOS.
Thank you, Yago. I believe we have time for one more question here. Let's see. John asked, how are you guys exploring strategies to expand in regions like Africa and Asia, where grassroots adoption are surging?
I think we can admit that we aren't maybe doing enough about that. It hasn't been our primary focus. Although I will say a big chunk of our community is from Africa and is from Asia. So right now, I think it's being driven by grassroots efforts and sort of organic adoption within those areas. We have made some efforts, like Eric was just talking about the activities we'll be doing in Korea. These are important. But we haven't been pushing on this too hard. And so, the success that we've had in that is mostly organic. Why are we not pushing harder? Because right now we're still in a phase of the project where we're very focused on technical development and on reaching a smaller number of higher value, what you might call institutional customers and clients, as well as sort of B2B work with like Litecoin, Cardano, and the projects therein. That has been our strategy. It is being able to get established and already existing communities, ecosystems to integrate with us and for their user base to sort of get access to us and adopt us. Over time, we will need to expand. And so the next big thing that we'll be doing in terms of a new audience, again, it won't be Africa or Asia sort of retail. It will be developers who can come, who can do hackathons. They can start building out the systems, which will then be more available, interesting, and make the ecosystem more vibrant. And at that point, and roughly in parallel with that, that's when we also start pushing much more into sort of specific regions. But I don't think that we will ever be primarily focused on sort of, trying to build the BOS in Africa or the BOS in Asia or the BOS in Latin America. I think that most projects that have tried to do that have failed. You can't push. It needs to be pull. You need to build things which are useful. And if you look at the history of Bitcoin, it has expanded. If you look at the stable coins, they have expanded throughout the world, not because of a marketing effort, but because they have provided utility. And so that always has to be our North Star.
Thank you so much, Yago. And guys, I do want to just mention one thing. I'm sure a lot of you that are dropping questions in the AMA questions channel are wondering why I'm not answering your questions. It's because we've been circling back from the questions that were left unanswered. So you will notice that a lot of you already got XP. So just being transparent about that. That's why I always tell you guys, make sure that you get those questions in as soon as you know that we're going to have a community call so that we can like prioritize your question. But with that being said, we are pretty much coming to a close here. Yago, thank you so much for joining us today. We know how busy you are. You were literally in just another space. I know you're probably jumping into another call or something of that nature now. So we really appreciate your time. And I know that a few of you were trying to come up to the speaker panel. I tried to bring you up, but for whatever reason, it's just not allowing me to pull you guys up. Like there's just like a connectivity problem on X today. As you guys know, the space literally bugged out a little bit earlier. So yeah. Yago, feel free to jump off if you're busy. I was just going to recap some more like community related things before we end the space.
Edan, thanks very much, everyone. Pleasure to be here, and thanks very much for the thoughtful questions. And I look forward to the next time and being able to answer more questions and talk to you some more. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yago. And see you later, Eric. Thanks so much for coming up as well. Appreciate you both significantly. But yeah, I mean, with that being said, guys, let's just like recap a couple of things. So we do have, as you guys know, we're going out to KBW. We're going to be in Singapore. If you guys plan on attending either of those events, please join us on Discord because those events are all listed in the events section. So I've shared all the Luma links. You guys can click on those links and then just participate, and we'll see you there. Like I said, I will get as much merch as I possibly can and share that with you guys. Whatever we have, I will give you double and extra and triple of that. So I want to make sure that you guys are decked out. But again, those of you who obviously can't make it, do not worry, my friends. I am more than likely taking an extra suitcase to bring back as much merch as I possibly can. So that I can, share that with you guys, for like community events and other campaigns. Sometimes you guys, are just awesome and I send you some merch. Besides that, yeah, like I said, I'm flying out tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled for content coming up on my personal X account. I will be live streaming the main conference. I will be live streaming like the side events. I'll be making like a lot of content. Some of my friends who are co-founders are going to be at these events. I'm going to be taking like I'm going to be like hosting like interviews with them, and it's just going to be as much like there's going to be just a variety of like content coming. Like I said, I really want to engage with you guys in a way that we haven't before. So I'm looking really forward to that, honestly. It's going to be a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a content creator. I'm not a KOL. So, I'm definitely putting myself out of my comfort zone here to just kind of bring you guys along on the journey. But Korea's cool. You guys deserve to experience that as well. It'll be my first time in Korea, so I'm looking forward to that. Besides that, we have a little bit of a special announcement that is set to go live right after this space, guys, and it is surrounding our merch. You guys have been asking about merch for a very long period of time now, and I'm happy to say that our merch store is officially going live, my friends. But guess what? You guys are getting the first look. The community. So we are not going to announce this to anybody yet, but you guys are pretty much going to get like the first dibs. You guys are going to get the first look. It's this really beautiful, intimate experience. You guys get to see, the new merch with our kind of like new branding visuals, like the mage, that light to dark like fantasy element. So it's really exciting. And then another cool element is we actually have a little competition tied to it as well. So I'm going to go over that competition because I think you guys will actually find it pretty interesting. The way that it's going to work is, as you know, we typically utilize Zili to get these competitions live because it's just a great platform to do that. But this competition is going to go live on Zili. And what it is it's basically called Design the Drip. So you guys are going to get a chance to design a piece of clothing that's going to go live on our actual merch store, like a limited edition community member, boss community member merch. So here's the thing. I know a lot of you are like, damn, I'm not creative like that. I don't really, have the skills. I don't really have like the talent to do that. Listen, here's where AI can come in helpful but I really would like for you to like kind of put yourself out there and, you know, not rely on AI to really like come up with like a design. And don't just like go and submit that. Like put like your heart into it, put your soul into it, like put everything into it. Like maybe you can go on, sit there and brainstorm like different ideas of what you think you would like. And then you would go and find like a bunch of different pictures. And then you take those pictures, you submit them to ChatGPT, and it like comes out with like a design for you. You know what I mean? Like try to like go out of your way. Like if you do plan on using AI, just go out of your way a little bit. Like showcase your creativity as much as you can. Feel free to send me a message and showcase like your mind process, like your mindset and your process with it as well. I would love to see that. I would love, love, love to see that. But this is a really cool way to, you know, kind of have you guys involved with BOS on a more like creative level. Like how cool is it that one of your designs is actually going to be on our merch store? I personally like this probably has to be like one of my favorite competitions that we've run. It's very creative. Again, you kind of like put yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit, but yeah, it's exciting. So do keep an eye out for that on Zeely as well. Like I said, the announcement's going to go live on Discord. The announcement's also going to go live on Discord for the competition as well. So very excited about that, my friends. And like I had mentioned earlier on in the call, I am doing a little mini giveaway today. So anybody who has been on this call has automatically been entered in that giveaway. But of course, I need you to be following me because that's the only way that I can reach out to you without DMing you. I obviously do not DM first. That would be insane. So I will be tagging you on a post, but you do need to be following me, of course, for me to be able to reach out to you. Let's see, guys. Besides that, what else can I cover here? Yeah, I guess like just be patient with us, guys, over the course of the next couple weeks. Like I said, a majority of the team is going to be at these events and conferences, so the likelihood of community calls and other events that we do on Discord, it's going to slow down a little bit. So just be patient with us, please. Like I said, we're not going anywhere. We're still here. We're still working hard, but we are doing what we can at these conferences to just kind of get more exposure on the ground, right? Obviously, what we're doing at BOS is extremely important. So it's super, it's just crucial that we do everything that we can to get the message out there. So we're going to be networking a lot. We're going to be attending these side events. We're going to be making friends. All these things are super important. I'm very excited about the BOS bar crawl as well. I'm not much of a drinker or a drinker at all, but I will be there to, spread our ethos, spread the vision, talk to people about BOS, tell them what we're doing. And yeah, hopefully we can bring more passionate people into our community like you guys. Also, as you guys know, because you guys attend these calls, we are also going to be launching an ambassador program, like I've mentioned to you guys. And so please keep your eyes peeled for that too, because we are coming close to launching that. We're coming close to very, very close to launching that. So I'm very excited for you guys to see that. Besides that, my friends, I think that's it. We do have a movie night today. It was actually supposed to be tomorrow, but I do fly out tomorrow. So it was kind of cutting a little bit close to like me leaving the house and going to the airport. So it's going to be hosted today in about like 3 hours from now. We are watching The Hot Chick, throwing it back to the 2000s, my friends. The community has been loving the 2000s nostalgic like movies, so we are throwing it back to The Hot Chick. It's a hilarious movie. I absolutely love it. I'm looking so forward to watching this with you guys. Obviously, whenever we have these movie nights, it's always like a fun time. We're sitting there, we're watching, we got commentary on each scene, we're laughing together. It's a good time, my friends. If you haven't joined us for one of the movie nights, I highly recommend doing so because, like I said, it's always a good time. Besides that, my friends, I think that's it for today. Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything. So with that, my friends, you guys know we always end these spaces with a little bit of positivity. I know it's just Wednesday, but remember to step into mindfulness as much as you can. step back into the present moment, log off of your devices. In fact, go take a break after the space. Please go take a break. These spaces can be draining, not only for me, but for you guys as well. There's obviously so much information being shared. So please go take some time for yourself. Do a little bit of self-care, do a little bit of self-love. Make sure you prioritize that. You are very, very, very important, my friends. And your health means the entire world. So with that, let's end on a good note. I feel like I've been playing the same music 4 months now. It's because I'm just not putting any time into creating like a new playlist for these X Spaces. I apologize for that. Much apologies. If you guys have song recommendations, as always, send them my way. Let's see here. Let's end with some spiritual frequencies, guys. We never do this. Let's end with like a 528 hertz reducing stress frequency sound that I found. It's like this positive, just it'll relax you guys. We obviously never do this, so that's how we're ending the space today. Much love to you, and we'll chat soon. Love you guys. Take care. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Much love to you all.